You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Nasa punto tayo na meron tayong 9-year-old na nanganak. So, ibig sabihin 8 years old siya nung kanyang pinagbuntis. So, that data alone shows us that we are in a crisis.
Toys and coloring books, friends, and education. These are just some of the things that young girls are supposed to have. Not babies. But the latest data from the Philippine Statistics Authority prove otherwise. From 2023 to 2024, the number of mothers in the Philippines aged 10 to 14 rose by 8%. That's 269 more young girls in 2024 deprived of a childhood and suddenly thrust into the responsibilities of a parent. Government agencies and NGOs have renewed their calls for the immediate passage of the Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Bill, or APP bill. Will it push through this time around? Will this bill really address the increasing number of young mothers? And whatever happened to the proposed sex ed for the youth? Pag-usapan natin ito. I'm Maro B. Enriquez, and this is Teka Teka. Fewer girls aged 10 to 19 were giving birth from 2016 to 2020. The number of mothers below 15, however, was steadily on the rise, with the exception of 2020, which was the beginning of the pandemic. We broke down the numbers with Mylene Mirasol Kiray, Chief of the Information Management and Communications Division of the Commission on Population and Development, or CPD.
For the cases of young girls aged 10 to 14, it has really been increasing since 2016. And in fact, in 2024, we see that the National Philippine Statistics Authority, according to the Civil Registration and Vital Statistics, the cases are 3,612. When a girl gets pregnant and gives birth, we see and we opine that there are causes for this. First off, it may be that these young girls are not getting sexuality education basically at home because only more than 10% of Filipino parents communicate about sex and sexuality with their adolescent children. No, for CPD, we are calling for parents to be the primary sexuality educator. So that's number one. It's education at home, and at the same time, it may be that they get information as young adult fertility and sexuality study shows that in 2021 when the survey was conducted, next to none, social media is one of the primary sources of information of our young people on sexuality. Another one might be because the life skills of our young girls and young boys are not getting developed, no? Kasi kailangan talaga may life skills para you have the ability to say no, to manage stress and pressures around you. Another one, the causes might be because the services and the information available on site at the local government unit level might not be available. And then the policies, the programs, the budget that is being allocated for reproductive health education and services are not enough.
As a government agency tasked with developing programs on population and family planning, the CPD expressed grave concern over the said data.
Alarming siya because 10 to 14 girls should not be giving birth. Ibig sabihin, it's below the age of sexual consent in the Philippines, which is 16.
Mylene also emphasized an important point.
We see that when a girl gets pregnant and gives birth, it's not her fault.
Echoing the government's distress on the rising number of young mothers is Angie Ramirez from the Philippine Legislators Committee on Population and Development, or PLCPD.
Ako si Angie Ramirez from the Philippine Legislators Committee on Population and Development. I am leading the campaign on adolescent pregnancy prevention at iba pang sexual reproductive health and rights issues. Nasa punto tayo na meron tayong 9-year-old na nanganak. So ibig sabihin 8 years old siya, no? Possibly 8 years old nung kanyang pinagbuntis. So children having children.
Teen pregnancy, as it was called back then, was adopted as a national priority in 2021 through Executive Order 141 signed by then President Rodrigo Duterte. But Angie points out the issue was already declared an emergency even before that.
In 2019, ang ating government mismo through NEDA, NEDA pa yung tawag noon, ngayon DepDev na, at ang CPD, ang tawag noon ay POPCOM, ang bilis ng panahon, ano, nagbago na rin yung pangalan ng mga agencies. Sila mismo yung nag-declare na national social emergency, ang adolescent pregnancy.
At a congressional hearing last month of the Committee on Youth and Sports Development, the first hearing on the proposed bills on adolescent pregnancy, Representative Percy Sendanya, one of the authors of the APP bill, said that the Philippines was once a gold medalist in teen pregnancies among the ASEAN countries around 2013. Angie says,
Yun yung tawag sa Pilipinas and it's not something that we would want to be proud of, no?
a follow-up hearing will be held in May. Angie also brought attention to 2024 data that most preteen and early teen pregnancies were fathered by older men.
Kaakibat nun yung usapin ng sexual violence. Merong mga 10 to 14-year-old girls na ang tatay ng kanilang mga ipinagbubuntis or ipinagbuntis ay 11 to 20 years ang age gap sa kanila. So, just imagine that kind of relationship. At humantong na tayo sa point na meron tayong 9 years old na batang babae na nanganak. 9 years old. So, hindi pa siya pumapasok. Actually, kung technically natin, hindi pa siya pasok dun sa adolescence. Sa adolescence na tinatawag, di ba? Kasi 10 to 19 yon. So, even before this young girl reached this adolescence na supposedly yun yung panahon na madedevelop yung kanyang full potentials, may empower siya, nagkaroon na siya ng ibang responsibility which is to rear a child.
We reached out to the Philippine National Police to talk about this, but they have yet to respond. Mylene gives us an idea on how the police are involved.
For the Interagency Technical Working Group, the PNP is not a member, but at the local level, we also have a strategy on the Information and Service Delivery Network where we capacitate the local government unit on how to call the players in the local government unit, which will include the police.
Mylene is referring to the Technical Working Group for EO141. She adds,
But also, meron pa kasing isang supplement law to address adolescent pregnancy, which is the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Law. Actually, the only law that is existing is the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Law. Doon, kasama na ang PNP kasi may key result areas yon which includes yung violence against women and children. And from there, the law gives interventions para sa mga abuse.
going back to Angie, she says one thing could have prevented the unfortunate increase in adolescent pregnancy.
Noong 2012, merong isang landmark legislation na ipinasa. Ito yung Reproductive Health Law.
The very same law Mylene was talking about.
Dito, makikita na bukod sa women's rights, at angat na rin yung usapin ng adolescent sexual and reproductive health and rights. Kasi doon sa Reproductive Health Law or RH Law for short, meron na dong banggit sa age-appropriate reproductive health education at saka access to information and services. Again, magkasama yon. Kailangan magkasama yung information on reproductive health and access to reproductive health services. Kaya lang unfortunately, ang Supreme Court ni-rule out niya na ang mga minors, those who are 17 years old and below, hindi sila makakapag-seek ng RH services, unless meron silang parental consent. At lahat ng ating mga studies, whether it's the young adolescent fertility studies at saka iba pang mga studies on child rights, established child rights organizations and UN agencies, wala doong nagsasabi na ang parents ang go-to ng mga kabataan or ng mga bata patungkol sa reproductive health education. So naging barrier siya.
One of its key provisions was providing the Filipino youth with reproductive health services and reproductive health and sexuality education. 14 years into its approval, did the law make any progress? Angie weighs in.
Kung pwede nating i-imagine na na-implement fully yung laman ng RH law on, reproductive health education and services, hindi sana lumobo or napigilan sana na lumobo yung, cases ng adolescent pregnancies. Pero continuing na tumataas yung 10 to 14 years old na age range. This data shows us na kulang yung halimbawa yung meron na tayong law na reproductive health law, kulang yung law na ito para siguraduhin na hindi tumaas or ma-address kumbaga yung emergency na ito. Meron namang naging tugon yung government at yun ay yung EO 141. Kaya lang, hindi pa rin naging, sabihin na nating hindi naging sapat yung mekanismo na yon.
The Philippines needed something more. Enter the Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Bill, or APP Bill, which was first filed in 2017. Here's Angie.
So, ilang kongreso na yung lumipas, hindi siya, nakakapasa. Actually, yung pinakamalayo niyang narating would be, the previous Congress. Noong 19th Congress kasi nakapasa siya sa House of Representatives at umabot sa plenary discussions sa Senate.
The bill, like the RH law, highlights the importance of sex ed for young Filipinos, among other key features.
Ang APP bill ay isang mahalagang measure na seeking to provide important provisions, no, pagdating sa pag-address or pag-prevent ng adolescent pregnancy prevention. At paano na ito gagawin? Unang-una, provision ng age and development appropriate sexuality education. Pangalawa, ito yung access ng minors sa importanteng reproductive health information and services. Pangatlo, it also provides social protection. Panghuli would be an important provision also on male involvement. Kasi kung titingnan natin, it's at yung usapin ng adolescent pregnancy, meron ding mga batang lalaki na nagkakaanak or nakakabuntis ng maaga. So, kailangan din nila ng, support, kailangan din nila ng social protection. And dun sa buong usapin ng prevention and protection, kailangan all genders, kailangan gender inclusive din siya. Kasi yung mga kabataan naman, mga bata at kabataan, we want to make sure that no one is left behind.
What ties these two legislations together is their common goal to educate young people in sex because, as Angie emphasized,
Ang education ay isang forma ng protection, no? Information can save lives.
and speaking of sex ed, let's talk about that for a bit. The Philippine education system went through a shakeup last year when, in September, the curriculum shifted from comprehensive sexuality education, or CSE, to reproductive health education. Angie says,
Kaming mga advocates, nagho-hold on kami doon sa pangako ng DepEd na comprehensive pa rin ito kahit pinalitan ng sexuality education to reproductive health education. Yun ang naging commitment nila. So, ngayon na nagbago ng pangalan at ang naririnig namin from advocates na nakaupo talaga dun sa mga consultations and dialogues with DepEd, ay natanggal yung mga terms na sexuality.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, chairperson of the Senate panel on basic education, also wanted it removed from the national curriculum because he says it has strayed from sex education and into sexuality education. For the CPD's part, what is important is that young Filipinos must have a culturally sensitive and age-appropriate sex ed. Mylene says,
So reproductive health education is key. At the same time, we also recognize that the curriculum should really have integration. And we have that because Department of Education has issued a policy in 2025 for reproductive health education. And this reproductive health education has been going on. They're really piloting, no, and educating teachers how to integrate such in the curriculum.
she also stressed the passage of the APP bill.
For policy naman, to ensure talaga that the adolescent pregnancy prevention is addressed, we are really pushing for and advocating for the passage of the Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Bill. No, kasi ang dami niyang versions in the House of Representatives. We support Representative Micaela Gonzalez Col na mag-create ng Quinta Committee to really unite the different versions.
The Quinta Committee will be composed of 5 committees in the House: Basic Education and Culture, Health, Welfare of Children, Women and Gender Equality, and Youth and Sports Development.
We want talaga na mas streamline na siya para mapasa na siya finally. We see that napaka-complicated, no, but comprehensive yung pag-address ng adolescent pregnancy para ma-ensure na hindi lamang siya parang one-shot deal, pero talagang sustainable yung mga ginagawa natin para sa ating mga kabataang Pilipino.
The PLCPD also called for the bill's passage. Angie says,
Merong sinusuportahan at sinuportahan ang mga advocates, no, PLCPD and CRN alike, na Tres Marias na tinatawag na legislation. So napasa na yung dalawa dun sa Tres Marias na yun yung increasing the age to determine statutory rape at saka yung prohibition of child marriage law. Itong dalawang batas na to more on the protection aspect. Kasi prohibition siya, criminal laws. So kapag nangyari na yung pregnancy, kapag nangyari na yung sexual violence, saka maa-activate yung dalawang batas na ito. Ang pangatlo sa Tres Marias na sana mapasa na ay itong APP bill. Siya yung nasa prevention, siya yung nasa education and empowerment. Mahalaga po yung papel na gagampanan ng mga batas sa pagpapabago ng buhay at sana po ay magkasama-sama tayo in supporting the enactment of the APP bill into law. Each day na hindi napapasa yung mga batas, yung mga kailangang programa, it further puts us in a situation na critical level. Kasi one is too many pagdating sa mga batang nakakaranas ng early pregnancy and possibly sexual violence and abuse.
Filipinos would often say, lasing yan when a woman gets pregnant. But can we still say the same to the children who give birth? Ang tunay na biyayang maibibigay natin sa mga batang babae ay kung masisigurado natin na sila ay protektado mula sa pang-aabuso, may alam tungkol sa kanilang mga karapatan, at may suporta kapag sila ay nagkamali. Ang tunay na biyayang maibibigay natin sa mga batang babae ay kung masisigurado natin na wala ng batang mabubuntis pa. Muli, ako po si Maru B. Enriquez, and this has been Teka Teka. This episode was produced by Trisha Aquino and audio edited by Anthony Tobias. Subscribe to Teka Teka on Spotify or to Puma Podcast on YouTube. Maraming salamat po.